Hello and welcome to Survive the Unexpected with your host Frank Pacino and my partner in crime Amanda Bryant. And today we're talking about Survivor Africa episodes 4 through 6. Um, I am not a big
Getting into
stan
the
of.
keywords, yep.
I'm not a
Getting
big
into the
stan of
keywords.
old Survivor, but it wasn't bad episodes. You got a lot of you got a lot more character development these 3 episodes, and you do get to see some gameplay, which is not always the best gameplay, but you got to see some
Right,
gameplay.
right. I mean, you definitely get to know the people a little bit more. Even with like in this episode, we're gonna go over like the swap and how it's gonna, how not the, kind of the swap and how it's gonna play out too. Which is the first time Survivor's done this. This is the first season that we've had a tribe swap happen. We'll get into that more into episode 5. There's a lot to cover. That's one thing about these episodes is that there wasn't as much commercials back then. There wasn't as many commercials back then. So these episodes, instead of being like 35 minutes, they're like 47 minutes. A lot of content without twists.
It's we're still in the high horse of Survivor. I'd like to say of where morals take place and people are focused on trying to live to this high standard of life for some reason when you're on some reality TV show, and
Yeah.
it's really annoying to hear people constantly say I can live with myself, how can you, and things like that. And it's like in all aspects they really didn't do anything crazy. It's not like they hid the machete on anybody or anything like that. They just
Well, like
voted against
frustrating
them.
too is it's so early in Survivor. This is when pagongings would happen all the time. So we got Samburo here, who's like old people versus young people, and they're not swaying at all from each other. There's
Yeah.
no, you know what I mean? There's absolutely no way that they're going to fault from who their friends are because that's what they're playing right now is friend Survivor. They're just going with whatever people they get along with the most instead of what is strategically the best move for them.
if if they don't have the rule with previous votes come into play, if there's a tie vote, this
Mm-hmm.
season might be really great. Like the first one, we had a tie vote. Can you imagine a rock draw with the old and the old, newer, older
Um,
and younger casts? And that for sure would have happened. They wouldn't have
yeah,
wavered. It would have been epic last episode. And we get another like tie situation, and in these later episodes too, where it sways the season. But because of
yeah.
the previous votes, it that's all it comes down to. And not necessarily it's also bad gameplay by Lindsay that gets her to that situation. But I'm
Yeah.
skipping ahead a little bit. We'll talk about that and get there. But episode 4, we start out with the aftermath of the tribal where we had the split vote. The Samburo get back, and Lindsay's pissed, and she did
Yeah.
not handle it very well, and she let everybody know it.
Yeah. She's not very good at hiding her emotions about gameplay. Not at all.
Yeah, it's terrible because it's not the merge. If you're at the merge and lines are drawn and your side wins, then you can be a little bit more devilish if you want to ruin your chances of winning. But she acted really bad and poor, and it really showed and affected the mood of the tribe and left Frank really salty, and he had every right to be.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he knew, um, you know, T-Bird and Frank have been in the worst spot before. This is before they merged, so that they think their game's over. They think it's over with. It's done. There's nothing they can do. So Sombrero is just such an interesting tribe because you have the people who are in majority. So those 4 younger people who are in majority, and they don't do anything. They're really really lazy at camp. So it's like they're in a power position where they don't have to do anything. So you have the bottom feeders, who are doing all of the chores and trying to save their own game. They're doing double
Right.
work, double ways, if that makes any sense. So I can
Mm-hmm.
see why the resentment would be there a little bit.
Yeah, it's um it's really out there, and it just affects the whole tribe, and you could just tell. Even Brandon even says in his confession, which I'm not a huge Brandon fan, but at least he has the aspect where he understands that they still need these people in this game. It's not over. It's not like they're at merge or they're at and they're winning and there's nothing they can do about it. There's still a lot of game to be left to be played, and they need them to be on their side if they want to stay strong and have a chance, because this is a
Yeah, they
time.
have to be tribe unity.
This is where times tribe unity going into merge was all it raised, or besides Borneo first merger. But but like, Australian Outback was tribe versus tribe.
Yeah.
And so, like, this is what we have to go on. You stick with your tribe and you find your way into the head of your tribe, and then that's how you win this aspect of Survivor.
It's important to win in pre-merge with Survivor. The less tribals you go to, the less chances you have of going home, and that's just the fact of it. And when you win all the time, you bond that way. You bond that way and enjoy it. You know what I mean? Enjoy your winnings, enjoy your rewards, enjoy your immunities. And when you enjoy good things together, that's when bonding. Like I said, when bonding happens, and friendships develop, and then you run with that. That's how it was. Broski season 7 with me. There was the Saints and the Rebels. The Saints were so unified because they won all the time. They got to enjoy all the rewards and all of the immunity wins. And we had to go to tribal council 5 times in a row. And we were divided because we had to vote people out all the time, literally all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's hard to make alliances with people when you go 5 times in a row. And with Samburo, they're going to be going to tribal after tribal after tribal because they can't get it together.
Right. And it's just not a good way to run your tribe or run your game, to be honest with you. So
Right.
we do see that the younger crowd, they leave it up to the younger crowd to get the water. Like, they go on like a I'm not getting water strike and everything like that. We'll wait for them to we'll run at their pace and things like that. And I did like that. I would be that salty, so I'm not gonna do all the work while you sit on your lazy behind. So
Yeah,
I
no, absolutely.
I totally would have done the same thing. I'm not gonna lie.
I've been like,
um
dude, I love the one thing about when Linda was like, "Get up, we have to leave in 30 minutes." Like that's such a mom move, you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
make them suffer on their own, make them taste their own medicine and suffer in their own way. It's definitely the way to
right.
go.
Right. Back at Baran, though, Tom is having a tough time eating, and it's because of the
The beans.
grits. The grits, he's just not eating it.
Um,
He's just not having a tough time eating it. And so we're going to the reward challenge, basically with the one tribe still arguing, and they have no water because they slept in and they didn't do nothing. And then the other tribe, Tom is really weak and tired and wants a reward really bad.
yeah.
So we get to reward challenge, and um I feel like the reward challenge was more exciting than the immunity challenge.
Yeah, it definitely was. They had to untie the little bags and supplies and stuff. That's the way it should be with Survivor. Get the supplies you need.
And
There's more
climb up. They had
supplies
to,
than
right. This is the one they had to climb up, right? They had to run up the rope. Yeah.
yeah.
So they had to run across like this netting and then climb up and untie like a little package, and each person had to go, and then they go in and out. And Samburo ends up winning, which is surprising with the how
Surprising.
divided they
Yeah,
are. But food is food, and food is king. And then
that's
basically
right.
they went a bunch of seasonings and things like that to add to
Yeah.
their mush.
They're mush. That would be so hard for me to eat. I do not like grits.
Yeah, me either. I'm not a big grits fan. Honestly, that water
Oh
reward would have
yeah,
been
the water's
all
so
the
bad.
yeah, that someone that's disgusting. I'm like, ugh,
Yeah,
I couldn't do
no.
it. Africa is definitely one of the worst places they've gone, like location wise,
I've only gone
difficulty.
twice, and it was terrible both times. Yeah, they
Yeah,
haven't gone back since.
it's just not a great location to stay there like
No.
that. They really suffered. Um, uh, Baran also talks about going over losing again. It was Kim's fault. Her little slip up really cost him the last reward, and she was really
There's two
worried that like
Kims. There's Kim
if
on
we lose,
Sparrow, and there's Kim on Baran. Just so you
yeah,
guys know.
yeah.
Yep.
So we get to we get them to talking, and they Lexa's even said, really today seeing Kim struggle makes me second guess if Kim can stay in this game for long term. And
Right.
that sucks because they trust her. So, and they don't
It's a
trust like other
situation.
people in the tribe.
Right.
So it's definitely
Back
interesting to
then,
see.
tribe, like, like who was strong in the tribe mattered so much. I mean, for the first,
Yes.
first third of Survivor, they were really big on, getting these people to help them win and then booting them at merge.
That's why there's a lot of male winners, especially like throughout the seasons, because like the guy like they convinced them, oh, let's get rid of the weak girl, and then the guy just like was bro down for a while. So
Yep, I
happens a
agree.
lot. Girls
It
can't
does.
girls can't stick together really. They struggle.
No, there's been really hardly, other than the Black Widow alliance, there's really not many, successful women alliances that have gone through Survivor and made it all the way. They had to
Yeah.
watch literally make a whole season about it. So if you haven't seen it,
Yeah.
watch it. It's worth it. But
Right.
it's just as you're right, and it doesn't happen at orgs either. Girls have a hard time sticking together.
Baran runs into more wildlife, and it's just like they're a wild bull, and it's just like, man, that would be scary. Africa
Yeah,
definitely got
there's
some.
no fence between you and that animal. You know what I mean? Like just
Mhm.
thorns. Like that's not
Right.
good enough.
It's not like you're running into like a little insect or something like that, and those things can run and really pretty much kill you. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely scary. I definitely would not want to sign up for Survivor Africa.
No, no,
Give
I bet
me,
not.
I give me Northern season, please.
I want a season with a beach. That's all I gotta say. If I'm gonna be suffering, I want to suffer on a beach,
Yeah,
not in the middle of the
exactly.
jungle
Yeah,
or a sand case.
somewhere I can get in the water and be like, oh, it's so clear, you can see everything and beautiful.
Yes.
Africa just looks tough and difficult. We get to the immunity challenge, and it's relocating the camp. It's pretty boring. It's really hard.
Yeah.
Like
It's heavy lifting.
yeah, it's just really really boring. And Baran wins that one, which saves Kim. They even said
Yep.
so. It pretty much saves Kim, and we get to Frank waking. Oh, we forgot to mention Frank wakes everybody up at the crack of dawn, and it's like
Oh
we're going to get
yeah.
water, and people were pissed. So I was just like, who signed us up for this?
The sun wasn't even up yet.
But that's the best time to get stuff going before it gets too
That's what he
hot.
said. It's too hot. Yeah, that's what he said too. You're gonna thank me later. He
Hmm.
just doesn't do it in a friendly way. He's such a hard man. He's not enjoyable at all in the sense.
Yeah, all
Rough
he has to do
personality.
run it by him and talk to him like, hey guys, we should wake up tomorrow a little bit
Yeah,
early and get some water.
agreed.
And if one or two, four of them say, all right, I'm in, then it's like not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, so Frank has his birthday, and then happy birthday, and they were going to tribal that night too, which sucks. He starts carving his wife and daughter's name in his torch, which is kind of cool. Um, I would love to if I can go and play. I'm gonna try to get my torch. So I'm probably
Oh,
just
I know.
spend some
People
money
have
to
to
get
buy
it.
their torches. Did you know that? Some people have
Yeah,
to buy their own stuff off of like eBay. Isn't that
yeah,
crazy? That
yeah.
makes
It
me so
sucks.
mad. I know it goes
Like
to charity still.
you should be able to get that. That's one thing that I'd
Yeah,
want to keep. It's my torch. Give me my
torch
torch.
for sure.
Right. So Samburo talks about who's going home, and this is very interesting. Um, the younger crowd, Brandon, Silas, Kim,
Lindsay.
Lindsay, are
Yep.
like, "Hey, you guys, whoever's going should vote, but you guys should all vote for Lindsay because none of us have votes. Going to merger, that's good for all of us." And they're like, "But we will not tell you who we're voting for." And they're like, they're, they're like,
They're like, no, of course we're not. That's why Brandon's a bad game player. He's like, oh yeah,
yeah,
you're gonna for us to help all of us, but the person we're gonna boo doesn't help them at all. And of course,
no,
Linda's like, well, then I'm not gonna do it. Why would I do it if I get no benefit from it? The
she's,
only logical thing that woman said all season, by the way. But
yeah, and she even says, "So what's in it for me?" And Brandon goes, "Nothing."
Throw back then.
Oh man, it was definitely not the way to go. And
Didn't
why
even
would you help
try.
them? Why would you
Yeah,
help them if they're talking to you like you're stupid?
that should have pissed me off. That's why I can't keep my mouth shut. That's exactly what would happen. For real.
So yeah, we go to tribal council and they talk about the old versus new and if
Jeff
it's still
really
there.
hammers it, man. He
Hmm.
really is like, why? How come you guys are on the house? What are you gonna do? Da 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 da.
Yeah. And
Frank, T. Bird, and Linda are just like, well, what can we do?
I can't. And then Brandon goes, or he asks Brandon, he's like, would you like self reflect when you're alone? He's like, oh, I'm never alone. I'm with these guys. These are guys are my friends, but not them. These guys.
He's just so bold about it, man. This is when
Yeah.
this has got to be the reason why they started doing like idols and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they want to avoid this pagonging like this.
Yeah. So we get to the vote, and it is a 4-3 vote, 4 for Linda and 3 for Silas. And you see in Silas' face, he's pissed. Uh,
Yeah.
Linda takes like a champ. She walks off. Nothing crazy. But you can tell Silas is pissed by the outcome of the vote. But I mean, can you blame them?
No. No.
Like,
I don't
I'm
blame them at
not.
all. That's the smartest thing to do because at one point in time they trusted Silas. Silas was on their side originally. And it flipped over and started hanging out with all the younger people and it pissed them off. Of course they're going to do that. It was the right thing to do. At least in
Yeah,
my eyes, it's the right thing to do. What do you think?
right. I mean, I okay. I don't know if it's the right thing to do, but it's the thing I would have done.
Yeah. Yeah.
I I I think for my chances to win the game, if I was still in the game, it benefit me more for Lindsay to have the only votes. But if I feel like I'm about to lose anyways, I don't give a shit. I'm gonna do
Right.
it. So
Fair.
that's the way
Fair.
way way it's gonna be. But that was pretty much episode 4. Um, we got to
Yeah,
see.
episode 4 didn't really have too much. They all jammed in episode 5.
I feel like the problem with this season is all the challenges. We get reward challenge and immunity challenge, and it seems like one challenge is always better than the other. So like
Yeah.
it's like why can't we just combine them and it just saves us so much time because
I feel
it's
like I
just
don't
like
get a lot of time though, the people. I think we get a fair
yeah,
a fair amount for almost everybody.
it's just that the rebuilding of the camp was like 10 minutes long. It was just like it was just so boring. It was like, yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't need to watch this. Who cares? Who can build recreate the camp? But we get to episode 5 where Samburo gets to back to camp and there's another blow up, and Silas is like, "What's the point?" Da 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 da, and they're like, "What do you mean? You didn't tell me. You expected us just to do what you said, and that's not exactly how it's gonna go." And Brandon was like, "I would have done that. I wouldn't ruin my chances if the roles were reversed." I'm like, "Shut up! You are exactly the
Oh, that's
vengeful
exactly
bitch."
what he do. Oh,
Yeah,
exactly. I was gonna say he's a petty queen. Like absolutely, he would try to hit them where it hurts. He's never been on the bottom yet, so he doesn't know what it's like to not be on the bottom or to be on
exactly.
the top. You know what I mean? He doesn't know what it's like to not be on the top. So he's looking in hindsight right now.
Yeah, it's real easy for him to say right now, but that's exactly what he would have done. I can
Yeah,
almost guarantee it. So
absolutely.
for him to say that is just it was just asinine. And then Silas is acting like he's like so baffled. It's like, dude, you burn people, they're gonna be upset with you. Like
They're
that's
on
what's
the if they're on the bottom, then they're on the bottom. Don't be mad when they're coming against you when you're not on their side.
mm,
I hate that with players sometimes. It's just like,
yeah,
you know, you're gonna get mad because I got you before you got me. What are you
yeah.
mad about?
So we get some tree mail where they have to select 3 representatives to go, and it doesn't say much after that. They said if they can't decide, they will draw straws, and 3 people will go. And so we get Lex, Tom, and Kelly for Baran, and then
Mm.
Silas, T-Bird, and Frank for Samburo. And we
This
get
was the
there.
perfect fucking people to pick too. The
Yeah.
perfect people to switch around.
Okay. So I get there in a second, but
Okay.
we get there to Jeff, and they are like, okay, he's like, drop your bus, give me your bus, and he's like, now you three are now Baran, and you three are Samburo, and they're pissed.
Dude, I love that though. There was just no warning. It was just like, yep, now you're on this tribe and you're on this tribe. Jeff didn't even sound excited about it. He was just like, yep, this is how it is now. Go ahead. And they're just like, what? Like totally shocked. They weren't
How'd
ready
you
or anything. They didn't have any of their stuff.
how'd you feel about them not how they did it without
I
like
liked
drawing
it.
the bus? You liked it?
I did. Mm-hmm.
It does suck because one of the four had to go with to the three representative, if not three of them. So like it does suck that Silas did all this work and he did go from the top to the bottom real
Yeah.
fast. Um,
Well, and then Brandon is literally in the power position still this whole time. He never has to leave his camp or go to a different side. He's still on the same side too. I wish it would have. Some part of me wishes that Brandon would have went and Silas would have stayed just to see what Brandon would have done. I'd have loved to see how he would have tried to fit in with the new tribe. I don't know. I like it. I like that. I like that it was 6-6, and then they just halved both of them and swapped. I think that's great.
yeah, I can
A lot easier than
understand.
swapping into 3. You know.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it was like I said, I understand it wasn't bad. It just sucks as Silas was a big character and it
Yeah.
does take him away eventually. But Tom was like, "Look, if he would have gave me an option of going to this other tribe or going to, or sprint back to the other camp, I would sprint back to the other camp." He said,
Oh,
"I
for
would have
sure.
kept going. I don't care if I would have passed out." And we get to see them approach each camp, which is very exciting to see because it
A
was
shock.
it was a shock, and Ethan was very upset because he lost his two closest allies.
Oh, yeah.
Uh, I feel like this episode right here really shows Ethan the player really well
Yes.
off this episode.
We haven't got
Uh,
a lot of Ethan really so far, to be honest
mm,
with you. Not a whole lot.
no, not a lot. We got a lot more from other characters. It also helps that their tribe is the more less chaotic, so they get less content. With the other tribe was so chaotic and so headbutting at each other, they get most of the content. So Ethan talks about losing his relationship with Tom and Lex, which is very upsetting, and he was like in a prime position and all that. And Frank and T-Board are ecstatic going
Oh,
to this tribe.
it's literally saved their game. Or
Yeah,
they would have been the next two voted off. It would have been Frank and then T-Bird for sure. For
yeah,
sure.
yeah. And Tom and Lex and Kelly are pissed, like to see how badly their campers ran.
Oh, yeah. So they're going to swap with all the lazy people. And,
Yeah,
and Tom, you think Tom takes lazy well? He don't take lazy well. No.
no. Yeah, Lex and them were pissed that there was no firewood. Like, where's your firewood? And like, what do you mean? Like you have fire. We were running out. And he's like, we had firewood like the last of the week.
And Brandon was like, that's because we don't have any firewood. We've looked. There's no firewood around here. And then
And
Lex and Tom gather this giant ass pile of fucking wood and bring it
yeah,
over.
yeah.
Huge pieces of wood. And Brandon's
No
just like,
wa-
oh, okay.
no water. I had to go get water. And their section was like fully mud, and they were like, "Man, this is awful. It's terrible."
Terrible. They're like, this is
And
what you drink out of?
right, you guys wash your clothes in here?
Good Lord.
So yeah, Frank and them were like, "Man, this is great. This camp is awesome. Firewood, water, because they had that
Yeah.
big the big tank of water they can just drink out of, which is just so
Sorry.
awesome to have. You're fine.
I was looking. No,
Um,
you're going to have to edit that out because I didn't see him at first. I was like, where the fuck did he go? But he's here. Okay.
but yeah,
Sorry.
they have that big tank of water
Mhm.
they have, and just such a good thing to have in Africa
Yeah.
for sure. Uh,
That tank of water is probably the best reward that they got.
Yeah. We also
For sure.
got some decent time with Kelly this episode. These
Yeah.
next couple of episodes. She really stands out and says, we can figure things out. We can talk to them, figure out the whole and things like that. And they do. They said Samburu is just like the old Samburu. They are like pretty separated in their old tribes. And then in Baran, it's like everyone's like buddy buddy, and
Yeah.
Clarence is really trying to buddy into Silas. Is like, yo, You and me are the biggest physical threats here. Let's stick together. All this stuff. Like you see them
Which
really bond.
we've seen this happen throughout Survivor many times with men. They
Yeah,
buddy, the two threats buddy together because they, they're the only people they can go up against.
yeah. It's so
Mm-hmm.
it's just it was it was definitely interesting to see that just because they switched people in the tribes still kind of pan out the same.
Right.
Silas is definitely trying to throw Frank and them under the bus, and Frank and them are definitely they're telling everything. They're and Ethan and them they're like okay, like getting all this information
Just take
from
all
them.
the info. Yes.
Yeah, it's definitely cool to see, and then it's definitely interesting to see how they pan out the tribes. We get to the
Yes.
reward challenge, which is for chickens, and this is one I'd want to win personally, really badly. But it's another boring challenge in my opinion. Goat wrangling.
Yeah. I skipped through the challenge. I'm not gonna lie.
It's boring. Basically, they have to
I like
transfer.
the pig one. Which season had the pig one? They had to catch the pigs. Was that Vanuatu?
I think
I
so.
can't remember. It was
I
so
can't
good.
remember.
That one's funny.
Yeah, this one is just boring, and they have to transfer 20 goats to their little kennel area, and they had someone playing defense, but really it didn't look like it. Like I don't know. It was.
It was
It's
weird.
you lucky you skipped it. I watched
Exhausting.
it twice.
That's
Yeah.
gotta be exhausting.
Hmm. Shoot, you seen the guys on Baran just picking him up and just carrying him.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Sambero was trying to like hurdle him, like they were like
Not hurdle. And they were trying to
not hurdle him, but
herd them.
yeah, heard them. There we
Yeah.
go.
Mm-hmm.
So it was definitely interesting strategies. Boran wins the chickens, and Sambero was already talking like if they had physical challenges, they're gonna win. They got this. They got that. They're already like down in the dumps, and
Oh
it's just
yeah. Like they have Clarence, Silas, and Ethan. Like they got it in the bag.
right.
Yep.
So we can move on and back to camp life, and Lindsay breaks down. She's like all upset and depressed, and it's like, oh, if one a couple votes my way, I'm going home. And Brandon is like, dude, just chill. I'm gonna be a dickhead. Kim can be a dickhead, and then one of them put their votes on them. We'll be fine. We'll go to tie. We win the tiebreaker, and we'll be all right because it'll be trivia. We'll be okay.
Yeah.
We just can't let them know that you have the votes. And she's all up in arms, and she does a really bad job to play cool for sure.
Yeah. She doesn't know how to chill out and try to think of a. I mean, I give it to her. She kind of tried a little bit. Like like she thought about flipping over and going against her own side, which is what she should have done. That is exactly what she should have done, but she didn't. She was too worried about hurting her friend's feelings, I guess.
Clarence and finds and Silas tells Clarence, "Hey, Lindsay has votes," which is such a bad like they're handling so bad. They're telling all their information to
Yeah.
this other tribe, and they're just like, "Okay, taking notes." And Clarence is like, "Whoa, me and her will be tied votes," which is dumb of Clarence to say to anybody that he has votes, but he does. um, Ethan has confession where he says, "I'm okay with winning or losing. Either way, I'll be all right." And it's really interesting to
He thought
see
about throwing it.
what he
And
thought.
then
Yeah,
think about throwing it. Yeah.
yeah. I think no. I think he thought thinks about drawing the next episode. I'm not sure though. One of the two.
Oh, okay. I could be wrong.
Yeah. So we get to, or maybe it was this one. Yeah, I think it was this one.
I think
And we
it
get to
was. Yeah.
Immunity challenge, and it's a puzzle, and it's
Puzzle.
a big puzzle. It was okay. Simburo wins.
Yep.
There was
Which
a
again,
funny
I'm
line.
surprised. Usually, if your tribe is not unified with the puzzle, you fall apart there. So they definitely, beat the odds in that sense.
It was funny to hear Jeff. It's like Samburo wins, and Baron's still trying to put together. He's like, Baron, stop! You guys lost.
You don't need to keep going.
So it was just so it's just like they may got it wrong in here. Samburo wins.
Just so bad.
Yeah. So
We haven't perfected the challenges yet.
Yeah. We caught right to gameplay talk. I really enjoyed this episode for the gameplay talk that we
A lot.
got. Yeah, Silas pulls Ethan aside and say, "Hey,
Big
let's get
swap.
Frank out. Let's get Frank out
Mhm.
or something." And then he's like, "No, let's do Clarence." And Ethan's like, "Let's do Clarence." And Silas is like, "Okay, I think I can get Frank and who's with him? I'm drawing a blank here.
T-Bird.
T-Bird, there we go. Frank T-Bird to vote with me." He said, "All right, cool. That's it." And then we get more scrambling around, and Silas is like, "What's blindside so and so?" And he's trying really
Yeah.
hard. And we get to tribal, and we talk about the tribe swap, and people are upset and how things panned out, and it's like so, but yeah, we get to the votes, and I'm pretty sure it's unanimous that Silas goes home.
Well, we don't know because they didn't read the last two votes. So it was
Yeah.
for Silas, and then they left the last two votes unread. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it was 5-1, probably Silas. Then he probably voted for who did he vote for again?
He voted for I
Did it
don't even
show it?
remember. I don't even know if it showed it.
Okay, maybe it didn't.
But yeah, he got 5 votes. But
Yeah.
yeah, he definitely he's like he knew he was gone. He just
Oh
it is
yeah,
what
he
it
knew.
is.
Yeah.
This is what I mean where Ethan really shows out this episode. He got exactly what he wanted.
Yes, and he didn't get any blood on his hands in the process.
And he pretty much he swayed this vote. And he's
Yeah.
like, he said early in the episode, I want Silas gone, and if we go to tribal, I'd like Silas to go. And then he contemplated getting another clearance, but he's like, why would I get another clearance when I can get rid of Silas and get another clearance later, where he has
Yeah.
nobody, which is way
Well,
smarter.
Silas is not going to be as willing to go with Ethan as Clarence already is.
Right.
Been with him the
So
whole time. So yeah, it was a smart thing to do.
yeah, but at the end of the episode, Jeff does tease a merge coming soon,
Question
maybe.
mark? Yeah, maybe.
Um, but yeah, we get to that was episode 5. Uh, episode 6, we start out with we talk about Ethan's worries about his food levels because they were prepping up for exact days to emerge where it has
Yeah.
been previously. And he's like, look, if we keep eating this way, we aren't going to have any food if it's longer than 3 days. And excuse me. And they're like, oh, Kim's like, don't worry, we got the chickens. They're gonna lay some eggs. Da 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 da. And there was a big segment is like, hey, are these chickens gonna lay eggs? And Clarence wants to kill them all.
Oh yeah, he wants to eat chicken so bad.
He's like, he keeps reminding, and he's like, if they don't lay any eggs tomorrow, we're killing one of these chickens. And then he kept reminding him, he's like, hey, you guys lay these eggs. And
Yeah,
then
lay don't.
Frank makes like a little pen for them so they can run around and feel more comfortable, maybe to lay eggs, and it's funny. I think I
I'm
was
surprised
laughing.
Ethan was still so worried about like doing exact days for the reward challenge because if with the swap, they've never done the swap before on Survivor, so I've been like, well, who knows how many days we're really going to be tribes because we didn't even stay our original tribes for long. They were already swapped by episode. Well, I mean, swapping by episode 5 is actually pretty good. That's actually pretty late compared to what Survivor's done before. They swapped in like episode 3 before. So it's a little bit later sometimes than what they usually do it, but I would have tossed that idea out the window as soon as he was like, oh, we calculated this. You can't.
Yeah. We get to Lex and Tom and Kelly over their lazy tribe mates. Like, these guys are lazy. They don't do nothing. It's on the lay around. Even when they were trying to find the water well, none of them even showed them. They like, here's the map, go find it. Like, go show them where the water is. Like, they're
Yes.
so lazy that they don't even show them where the water hill is, so they can just find it themselves later.
Do you see their fire pit? It's like this big giant mound of fucking ash. It looks like a volcano.
Yeah,
and
and
like
then
sand, like a sand castle, but like with ash and a volcano. That's what it looked
and they
like.
took care of it when they got there. They were mad.
Mhm.
I would have been mad too. I would have been pissed. Right.
100%.
We get to the reward challenge, and it's like a lunch, and they tease him with some Mountain Dew. and some definitely Mountain Dew was a sponsor back then. You can tell.
Oh yeah.
uh,
Their sponsors are so obvious. They wear all the Reebok clothing and they have the Mountain Dew cooler and everything right there.
yeah, and he
They're more
flashed it
talks
real
about it.
close. I
Yeah.
think this the last season or the season before that, one of the two, and it just makes me laugh every time.
I know.
It's questions about Africa. I feel like this challenge would have been better as an individual challenge for a merge,
Yeah.
than a tribe challenge because they all got to console and answer questions. They had like they were on like some bleachers, and you went down the bleachers. Once you get to the end, you win, and it was, it was trivia questions that we have no like if you don't
Yeah,
know anything about
we
Africa.
don't know if they're wrong or right. I understand what you mean in that sense. Is like they could tell us the wrong answer. I bet 95% of people that watch wouldn't know.
Yeah, unless like I wish it was more questions about the season
Yeah.
than about Africa itself because we're not going to know those answers. We can't play around with that. So
No.
it was just like, they got it right, cool. They got it wrong, cool. And Samburo wins, and they pig out
And yeah.
again. They win the reward again. They pig out, and Kim starts to feel really sick because she ate too much.
Too
She's a
much.
tiny
Yeah.
girl, so
It's
she
like the
almost
first
threw up
coverage
at
we
the
get of
end.
her. I think this is like the first segment of hers ever.
Yeah,
It
Kim from
feels like
Samburo. Do they even have like letters at the end of their names to tell which one's apart?
Kim P, I think is what it is. I'm pretty sure she does. So the older Kim does not have a letter after her name, but the other Kim, the younger Kim does.
Okay, I
Yep.
don't remember what seen that or not. And
I think
but
it's a
yeah,
P. If I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure it's a P. I'm
yeah,
not
we
100%
haven't gotten much from
sure.
her at all.
No, we haven't got a lot from the young contestants. I mean, other
Mhm.
than Lindsay and Brandon, those are like the two younger contestants that
And
are
I
like
mean Silas before Silas was gone.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So Lindsay talks about how she likes Kelly, and Kelly's obviously doing a great job at her social skills, which was her plan. She told us, which I really like. She told us what she was going to do, and then you see her doing it with the girls. So I can talk to
Yep.
the girls; they're going to gossip with me. Let me talk to them, guys. Don't worry, I got your back. And
And she was
they told
correct.
us, and she was correct. And they were starting to lower the guard down with Kelly a little bit, and so we get to the morning of if these chickens don't lay egg, we're cooking them, and of course there's one little egg, and
One, it's probably like this big. It's so small.
and then
But
they're like they all get so excited. They're like, we want to show Clarence so bad, so they wait for him to get up and they show him. He's like, you fucking chickens.
like, oh hell no! As I said, oh no, that's so funny, dude.
Oh,
See,
it was
that's
so
funny moments like that is what makes a tribe bond. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Yeah, and it
Mm-hmm.
was a fun character moment too. It was a fun throughout the episode.
They
And
killed you.
they do end up eating a chicken, which is
Mm-hmm.
not a bad thing. Like,
No,
look, let's face it.
celebrate
Like Tyson used to say, I really like. I'm not a big Tyson fan, but I do like to say he's like, eat when you can, eat as much as you can.
it.
He said because you may not see tomorrow, so why leave all this food for everybody else?
Exactly, it's true.
So, yeah. Um, so we get to see more talk about the camp. Kelly trying to talk to Kim about what's going on, and they're starting to loosen up a little bit, and but nothing crazy. They do think that Brandon has a vote against him
Yeah,
from Frank. They say, which is kind of like I don't want to say it, but it kind of feels like because Brandon was gay, they're trying to say Frank would vote for him, like
yeah, I agree.
undertones, and it was just like that's a
They're
little
like they
messed up to
don't.
say. That's a little messed up to say about to Frank because you don't know him.
I mean, look at Rudy and Rudy and Hatch. They were best
Yeah,
friends. By the
don't
end of it.
don't get me wrong. Frank does not like Brandon, but it had nothing to do with his sexuality.
No, absolutely not.
And
It's
so
because
it was kind of crazy that slipped in. Like nowadays, that wouldn't be part of the show unless he flats out is homophobic.
it would be part of the show either, unless there was a learning point to it where they're
Yeah,
like, oh,
or
I'm
they
gonna,
kicked him out.
yeah, yeah.
So Yeah, that definitely was interesting. I was like, I watched it twice, and the second time, the first time I was like, maybe it's not so bad. And I watched it again. I'm like, yeah, I kind of lean towards that. They don't say it, but
Right.
they
I'll
they
never do
kind of
it.
lean to it.
Mhm.
Uh, and so they actually, the Brandon actually has a good strategy. He's like, look, I'm gonna try to get the votes on me, and let's vote Tom. Tom, if we lose, because Tom, like, let's face it, Tom's not winning trivia about Africa. I agree
No,
with that. And Brandon's like, I can beat him in trivia, which is the correct move. And I actually was like, this is interesting gameplay to use the tie votes to their advantage. I'm not the biggest fan of the tie vote, how it works, but this
I
was
like
a cool
it
way to
though.
see them game it. So I think this is one of the first times we see like actual interesting gameplay from it, besides the
Yes.
all they got votes is vote for them. So I get to the immunity challenge and it's archery, and Frank does archery. So like, oh, teach us how to do archery, and we got a little segment of that. It was an okay challenge. It was better than the last one.
Frank, you could tell Frank was in his element. You know what I mean? He was like, "Hey, I know exactly what to do. I'm going to teach you guys how to do it." And he even said like a little segment of like Frank is a teacher. Like he likes to explain and likes to show you the right way to do it, even if it's not the right way. But he still likes to,
And
explain it and do it.
the funny thing was he did awful in the challenge. I don't think he hit a sign.
Mm,
I think Ethan hit 3 of them, and then I think Kim hit 1, and so it was just funny that they build him up, and he was terrible. Brandon, oh my god, he scared me every time he tried to shoot that ball. I thought he was gonna burn himself. The
I
one
know.
time he literally shot it and went to his feet. I was like, oh my god.
It could have gone right to his foot. Yes, they had some dangerous stuff back then.
Yeah, because the arrows were on fire, so they had to hit
Oh
the
yeah.
target and set it on fire. But yeah, it was scary to see some of them do. I'm like, boo, get away from that.
We
Um,
had a shining moment with Ethan here in this community challenge because he's the one that came through and ended up doing the winning shot for bronze. So that we got him some, brownie points. And we're starting to see the build now of his story a little bit.
yeah, these last 2 episodes really started to stand Ethan out. Like
Yes.
beforehand, I think he was taking a backseat towards Lex and Tom because there were
Mm-hmm.
more, and then Clarence too because Clarence was a mess.
I
Um,
really enjoy Lex this season.
and
I love the way he talks. He's a good kind of personality to get to know.
So it really shows Ethan as his own, develop his own, and I think it was cool that he got to do that away from Tom and Lex, where I
Yeah,
don't think he could have without being away from them.
I agree.
Um, so they go to plan. They say, hey, don't let's not talk about this. But then Kelly talks to Lex and them and is like, hey guys, I think Kim was trying to tell me Lindsay has the votes. And they're like,
Yeah.
how do you say that? And she's like, she was doing like a little L. And I was at first I thought she was trying to get me to throw the challenge, but then I'm like, maybe her trying to tell us that Lindsay has the votes.
And it's exactly what she was doing. Yep.
Is exactly what, which was really cool. I wish they would have showed that. They didn't show it. I
Yeah, I don't know
watched
why they didn't.
right. I would have been, and like to have a confessional of Kim saying, "I'm going to try to tell them that Lindsay has the votes," and like
Yes.
just like and like so we get to see that, and then like highlight it as Jeff's like explaining the challenge or something, or them leaving, like her flashing the L or something.
Yes.
It
I
would
don't
have
know
been
why they didn't
cool,
show
cool little thing, and then you hear like I think modern Survivor would have caught that because
that.
it's just the way things are. They highlight things like that now, but I feel like we did miss that, and it would have been cool to see at the challenge of Kim trying to tell Kelly that. Um,
I think they could have done that because they back then they were like super strict on like you don't talk to each other, that you don't talk to each other, traveling back and forth from places, you don't talk to the other tribe. They were probably really strict on rules back then, and they probably didn't want to air it. You know what I mean?
yeah, we forgot to mention the reaction when they see Silas is gone. Lindsay was
Yes.
visibly really upset, and it's just like it just sucks, man.
You,
they for sure thought Frank was going home, so it was kind of funny to see that Silas got sent home, and they're like,
Frank just had that look on his face, like, "Yep, I'm still
yeah,
here. Yep, me and
and
T-Bird are still here, and your friend's gone."
and they're like, they must have sold him out. Of course, they sold him out. Why would they
Of
stick with
course.
them?
Why
I
would
don't,
they?
I don't understand why they would think that they would stick together
No.
after the way they treated them. Um, we did get to. Oh, I forgot. What'd you think of the tick part segment with Tom.
Oh yeah, she had to pour hot water in her ass to get the tick to come off.
And then Tom, it was really creepy. He's like, "Look, that was the best thing I got to do out here. I got to pick a little
Yeah, he's
tick off
super
that
crazy.
booty."
He's super misogynistic. There's a
Yeah,
lot
it
of people
was.
who don't like Big Tom because how misogynistic he is.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. And then he got it off and he spanked her afterwards. I was like, "Ooh, this is the age well."
No, it's not.
Oh man, and I mean, she laughed, so hopefully it didn't bother her. We can't speak for her. If she was okay with it, we really can't say anything about it. So,
Right.
but it was just
Still, though,
still some.
she get a disease from that, so it's a good thing that she did get it off.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we go to the tribal council, and it's a tie vote with Tom and we do get Lindsay talking about voting Brandon, and this is where I disagree with you about voting Brandon. I think she was always going to go. There was nothing she could have got done to go
True.
because they were going to vote for. They weren't going to count on Lindsay flipping. They were always going to vote Lindsay out just to get rid of so they can win the tie. So I feel like the only thing they could do to say for Lindsay to save herself was to have a better attitude to her tribe mates. That's what it came
Yeah.
down to, in my opinion. I don't think her flipping would have done anything. All it would have been was a 3-2-1 vote. I think Lindsay was always going to go here because they figured out because Kim told them, "Hey, she has the votes," and then they overheard them talking too, which also led them to
And
believe
Lindsay,
her.
I knew that they did. She was like, they overheard us. She knew that her
Yeah.
game was sent. There was nothing that she could do. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So it's a revote deadlock, and Lindsay was pretty much about to leave, and then Jeff is like, "Hold on, you guys sway." It's like they're not swaying, Jeff. This is
No,
this is why they started to realize this vote structure is
it's
hurting the
well,
show, and so I think they changed after this season, right?
they do. Yeah, because Marquesas is known as a
Mm.
Purple Rock season for a
Yeah.
reason.
So
Yep.
this is the last time we have the votes. Vote tie. It matters how many votes you have later on in the season. So I think
Tom
this
had
right.
zero.
Yeah, so I think this vote right here really settles it. Like we got to change it because Lindsay was pretty much about to leave, and Jeff's like, "Hold on, you can sway him." She's like, "They're not swaying Jeff." She's like, I can leave with my head held high and all this stuff." And it's like, oh my goodness, I stuck with my friends, and she's crying. I'm like, oh my god, but yeah, it was fine. It was like it was good. It was good
Not as boring
episodes.
as AO.
No, for sure not.
No, we're already
I
halfway
just
done.
Yeah, I'm halfway done. AO felt a real chore.
Yeah,
Our chore
not
was
bad.
just starting, so when we got started, it was half the battle. But yeah, that covers it. We're gonna cover, was it 7 through 9 next? How many
Mhm.
episodes is in the season? Do you know?
I do not. Let me look it up real quick. Good old Paramount Plus. Sorry, Survivor season 3. There are 15 episodes. That's the reunion as well.
15?
So, yep, that's kind of the
Yeah.
reunion. So,
So 7 through
we're not too
maybe.
far away.
Yeah, we're not too far away. So
Mm-mm.
there's what we're in episode 6, so we got
We'll do
what
7 through 9,
9
and then probably do 9 through 12, and then do 13 through 15.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. All right, yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. So, but we're definitely gonna power through Survive Africa. It's definitely a lot easier to watch than AO for sure. I know,
Yeah,
honestly, AO is towards like bottom 5 for me, and
I
so
know
like
you don't like it at all.
I really don't like it.
We
And the
love
more I watch,
Thailand. So I think what we're gonna have to do with
yeah,
Thailand is we're gonna have to watch like 6 episodes, do a podcast, and watch like the rest of it, do a podcast because there's no way we're gonna keep anybody interested through Thailand. It's the worst season of Survivor.
yeah, it's pretty bad. So I remember it being bad. I remember like I don't even know if I finished it, to be honest with you. I think I started and I was like,
I finished Thailand, but this was like circa like April of 2020. Like maybe before that, it was like in 2019. Maybe I did my rewatch, started my rewatch, and
yeah,
Thailand was so bad, so bad.
yeah. But yeah, if you guys want to watch with us, we'll be watching 7 through 9 next, and we'll probably cover it next week. Thank you guys for watching. Really appreciate it. If you can give us a like and subscribe, it means a lot to us. Talk to you guys later. Thanks. Bye.